Hello, listeners. It's Mallory Wilsey, Chief Producer of the Enrollify Network, and I want to take just a moment to tell you about another show on Enrollify that I know you'll love. Breaking Silos aims to showcase the remarkable work of marketing professionals and their non-marketing colleagues from different departments across campus who come together to achieve common goals, implement new initiatives, enhance the student experience, and foster better collaboration among teams. Hosted by Shane Biglini, who leads marketing at Muhlenberg College, each episode of Breaking Silos will feature a marketer and their non-marketing colleague to talk about that partnership. This unique format will inspire marketers to try new things and connect with colleagues in new ways, while also allowing non-marketing professionals an inside look at some of the most collaborative projects in higher ed marketing. New episodes drop every other Wednesday, and you can subscribe to the show by visiting podcast.enrollify.org or just search Breaking Silos wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to The Application, a podcast focused on actionable takeaways to help you level up your marketing and enrollment management game. I'm your host, Dr. Allison Turcio, Assistant Vice President of Enrollment and Marketing at Siena College. Join me every Tuesday for discussions with some of the best minds in higher ed marketing and enrollment management. The Application is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher ed professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal faves linked in the show notes below. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Hi, friends. Today we have a fantastic episode lined up for you. Our focus is going to be on analytics and SEO, two critical components in understanding how your audience interacts with your digital footprint and how you can leverage data to optimize user experiences and boost enrollment. Joining us today is Glenn Friesen, a seasoned expert in SEO and data science with over 15 years of experience. Glenn's part of the web team at Cal Poly and has a wealth of knowledge in the digital sphere. He'll also be presenting at the upcoming EduWeb Summit in Philadelphia from July 9th through 11th. We're excited to have him share his insights on using analytics to better understand audience behavior and improve SEO for colleges and universities. Glenn, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
To kick things off, can you tell everyone a bit about your background and what drew you to the field of search engine optimization? And I love this idea of the mix of SEO and data science.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and it happened organically in my life, drawing me to these fields. You know, I spent a lot of time on computers. I grew up with computers and have watched them grow. Ever since my early childhood development, I've been influenced by computers. And so, you know, even in high school, I was like the first person in a class presidency race to use a website for their marketing. And so, you know, I've been involved and then, you know, promoting bands and events, and eventually got into, in college, interning at a record label. And then once I graduated, I became the first employee of a startup that they were running out of Long Beach, like an internet startup with around QR codes and mobile promotions. So that was, you know, a great learning experience, again, in computers and internet marketing.
Yeah.
Finding a space for ourselves through SEO. Eventually, the course of life took me back to the Central Coast of California, where I'm from. Ended up working at a digital marketing agency in Santa Barbara for search marketing and internet branding, web development, you know, mid-level brands, but in a range of different industries. And like over my entire career, I had been working with analytics, working with data, storing, processing it, taking it out of Google Analytics or whatever else, and then, you know, combining it, joining it, and making decisions and all this. But now I had the opportunity through MindBody to, you know, work with a team of data scientists and learn the ropes. And like instead of studying marketing, I got to work on executive decisions and how the software operated, and develop product development. Very exciting and interesting stuff. So I joined the team at Cal Poly in 2017 as part of their um, first university marketing web team. It was new for the division, a new division actually created, combining our communications division now with marketing. Worked on the rebrand, the Cal Poly website, and that happened in 2020. Actually, we launched the redesign of the website like right before COVID hit. So the big disruptor of COVID hit us in that way, where a lot of the value we distributed was right before a big change, right? But the stay-at-home order meant that traffic to the website also, was the sole source of people's interaction
of everything, right? You built like this new marketing tool, basically unveiled this, new marketing strategy by unveiling a new website, but it ended up being much more than that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to us all at this time, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
the foot traffic went away and the
Everything
website
was online.
Yeah, everything was online. So we've navigated through that over the past few years, and now the sort of the rebound from the dip in COVID is happening, where application volumes are returning to high levels, and and so we're also planning for the future now with adopting strategies to deal with AI oncoming, or GDPR that's ongoing for everybody, cookieless tracking, analytics, or the next big content revamp, right? Creating durable systems for that in the future. So yeah, that's been my career path, and hopefully foreshadowing of my future. Who knows if something else will change course.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time for lots of change to happen in this industry, that's for sure. So tell me about, when we talk about websites and marketing, a lot of times our thoughts as hired marketers goes right to content, right? What's on the website. Tell me about how you guys are structured to help you use data and analytics to inform the marketing that's happening. Tell me about that side of it and what's happening at Cal Poly.
I like to say that we're painters all painting on the same canvas, right? These websites that we're creating are informed by so many different people with different perspectives, user needs as well. And so, content isn't just created by one person. Even the editor, author of that content is informed by so much, and so many others in collaboration, right? We look for opportunities to find those places of collaboration, and then do work there. Yeah. Analytics has helped us because, not everything is as emphatic as everything else. Like if you listen to a song, you listen to the chorus or some of the hooks.
Yeah.
Some things stick with you a bit more than do other places in that song. It's not to say those other places aren't important, necessary, or great on their own, but certainly some things are hooks. And those hooks are the places of importance that are the most valuable in our content. These are things like headers, right? Or the introductory paragraph to content. They're like the hero title tag, hero title or the title tag. And so, yeah, there are places of emphasis where we look for opportunity. And then, it's about collaborating and working with others to find what goes there. It's not always as easy as it sounds, right?
No. I think part of the struggle at a college or university is that we don't lack for content. We don't lack for stories. So the decision making gets actually really difficult about what you showcase. And that's where I think the data can be so powerful, but a lot of people don't have the luxury of access to that data. Data, especially website data, is often siloed, across a university system or within a college, right? So it's hard to use it to help people understand and inform people about what's best to be putting out on the website. I think that's one of those sort of like universal struggles that we all have as marketers.
Yeah, it's so true. And I've looked at so many other universities and how they have their analytics set up, to inform how I should set them up for Cal Poly.
Yeah.
And there's a real pattern of the siloed and fractured analytics, right? Where each division or even each department or each college, the student affairs maybe, all these different groups will have their own analytics tracking codes within the same university, sometimes even for within the same office, right? And this is like a proliferation
Yeah.
that happens accidentally, in an unguided, organic way. It just proliferates. And it the only way to, but what's the problem is those little nodes don't talk to each other, right? So it's impossible to attract like activity from adjacent sites where people are coming from or where they're going 2 steps away. It's impossible to see the full puzzle. You only see the little puzzle piece of your analytics site. By installing the same analytics domain wide and even outside your domain, like on some of the external tools that are integrated with your site, like through application processes or other iModules or giving end user points, right? Having the same analytics constellation, right? The same helps you organize and see the full path. And it's critical at a university because imagine a physical campus, right? People can walk into different parts of that campus. University of Portland has some buildings that are way far away from their campus center. And imagine though, like if a person goes to one of those buildings and then another, and each time they're treated as brand new or have no understanding.
And you don't know where they came from.
Don't know where they came from. Now imagine that you do know all this. And the context changes, the information changes, how you treat the person changes if they're a returning user. So feeding the analytics and into it, and that physical campus analogy is so useful for understanding the broader web portfolio, right? Because all that fracturing of it's like having a huge campus and then all your buildings are on different sides and making the user walk between them.
Yeah. Or figure out the pathway themselves too, right? Like, here you go, figure it out. Kind of makes me think of the Hunger Games. We'll just drop you in, figure it without the tying.
We've observed, a lot of people navigate our website through Google, right? Through commercial search. They just bounce into the browser, type what they're looking for. It goes to a Google search results page, and then they navigate. So internal navigation, a lot of people just don't use it to find what they're looking for. They bounce out.
Yeah.
Us too. You and I. And
I mean, that's how we find anything, right, that we're looking for. That's the first thing I'm going to Google. I'm not trying to figure out the menu of any website, right? When was the last time you went to Amazon and actually used the categories and the structures to be able to search for what you're looking for? No, you put words in.
And that's like, being dropped into a jungle, like so many websites, and people aren't even going to read the signposts. They're going to look for it to teleport to wherever they want to go. Navigation we find is useful in those structured journeys, right?
Yes.
Financial aid or admissions process stuff.
Operational things, yes.
Yeah, operational flows.
Transactional, yes, makes sense.
Progressive navigation through those is so useful for like guided navigation, right? But for most landing pages that you see, the click-through depth, like how many pages are going to go to, is 2 maybe.
Yeah.
Most people just kind of find what they're looking for and move on.
It makes me think about search engine optimization because from a marketing perspective, I often am thinking about SEO in terms of getting organic people traffic to a website, right? But this is actually making me think about and sort of realize, light bulb moment here, that SEO is just as important for within the site as getting people to the site, because that's how we find information. So if our content isn't structured really strongly for search engines, it's not optimized for search engines, then people who are coming and trying to behave how they're used to behaving on whatever websites they're going to, they're not going to have a good experience. They're not going to get to that, like you were saying, fly
Yeah.
into that one thing I'm looking for. We're not going to be good at that. So I'm realizing how SEO has another layer of importance that I've definitely not talked about on the show yet before.
Yeah, it's like your drop zone, right? You're dropped into that.
Yeah.
How close are you to your target in that drop
Mm.
zone, right? And one great strategy for approaching this, which has such an overlap with good UX and good writing, is for the web, is subheaders, right? Breaking out long paragraphs into shorter paragraphs with subheaders.
Yeah.
Because people, when we read these web pages that are have a lot of words and a lot of options, we scan. We kind of
Yes.
scroll through and scan and look for headers, and we don't read a
For
lot.
the words you're looking for. You're scanning for almost like those breadcrumbs that are
Yeah.
related to the topic you have in your mind.
Or at Command F and you just type it
Yeah.
in
Command. Oh, I
once
do
you
that a
arrive.
lot. Yes.
And so those
No patience.
subheaders is such a no
No, I
patience
have
to
no
even
patience.
scan.
I just realized that about myself. That's how impatient I am, that I'll just control F on a site and see if it's got what I'm looking for. Wow.
That's so common. And so
Yeah.
it's becoming shorter, and it's going to get even shorter with AI helping people
Yes.
not even have to do anything. But
Yes.
from a content engineering, then we need those headers are like flags, like keyword labeling for that content. It's
Yes.
like if you're shifting through a file folder and you want those little tags that have like or post-it notes. Maybe you can have too many of them, like the file folder that has too many. But
Mm-hmm.
the robots can process this really well, at least to find this is what this word is associated with this topic, right? And it's important for voice search too. Like Alexa, tell me about Cal Poly. What are their admissions rates and what is the percentage of out-of-state students receiving financial aid or whatever else? It has to be able to find these flags. What this content is the answer to the question, right?
So what are the metrics and the data that you have to look at to be able to understand what that content should be, how that content should be structured? What are you using to help provide the
Yeah.
intelligence to make the content the way we're talking about it?
Yeah, so the effectiveness of like SEO can be measured best by the number of keywords sending search traffic. So the total number of words and keywords and phrases sending traffic to your site, right? As a heuristic that tells it all, non-paid, just organic search.
Yeah.
And the majority of these are going to be non-branded, not including the name of your university, but non-branded. And that space is the largest area for growth for almost everybody too, because of just the potential of what that is. It's the subjects that you serve, all right? It's the content that your audience wants to find that doesn't include your name. But you'll also have branded keywords, your internal audience, current students, staff, community, people navigating your website, prospective students, people familiar with your brand are going to use your brand name as part of their query. And branded has been critical for Cal Poly because there are other universities in the CSU that have our brand name, including one new sister school in the CSU that changed their name from to include Cal Poly. And so the keyword is just as our brand name is also like important for us to keep related to ourselves instead of some of our sister schools. So,
Yeah.
but with the non-branded keywords, you see the biggest area of growth. And if you want to be visible in online search, the floor of that is like how many eyeballs see your content. And those non-branded keywords have so much search potential. And Cal Poly, for instance, has seen like success on that for a few, like if you were to search for wine and viticulture or parks and tourism administration or like comparative ethnic studies. Those are some of the just by themselves, we rank there for that, people searching for that. Or soil science degree California or general engineering degree California, and these other things that kind of include the word degree in California, right? Non-branded keywords. huge potential growth. So you can measure SEO in the like new keywords that you are ranking for, but never at the cost of UX. Good SEO content is resonant with good UX content and good content
Yeah.
strategy. It's those places where it all resonates. That's the best. Never in competition or destruction of another.
Hey, it's Mallory, Chief Strategist of Enrollify. Why travel far when an exceptional higher ed conference experience awaits from the comfort of your campus or home office? I'm thrilled to announce that every single session at the 2024 Engage Summit will be live streamed. And the best part? Registration is free. Many of your favorite Enrollify creators are presenting. Maya Demishkovich and Jenny Lee Fowler will teach you how to craft an AI-powered social media influencer strategy. Jamie Hunt will help you unlock the AI revolution in your team. And Shane Baglini and Allison Turcio are teaming up to boost your productivity with generative AI. Plan out your dream conference by scoping out the agenda and taking note of the sessions you want to tune in for. Visit engage.element451.com and register yourself and your team for free today. Now, back to the show.
Then you can also see, just keyword rankings, actually tracking the rankings of the keywords that you're looking for, like that are the most important to you. See if there's cause and effect between certain changes and certain outcomes, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about SEO, a lot of people want to know in advance of things, will this be beneficial?
Yeah, well, yes.
Right.
You
But
can't know until you do.
best we can do is offer theories, and then you have
Yeah.
to learn by doing, and through experimentation. Some things are obvious wins, and it's like you can see it coming a mile away that this is going to be a huge win. And so, but at best, anything is always a theory. This is going to be a huge win, and you never know until the rubber hits the road. But more often than not, those surefire strategies are gonna make you successful. Just adding headers, subheaders, so critical. Like captions under images really helps. Knowing what targeted keywords you have in mind for a page and then using them on that page. There's so many times people want a page to rank for something they don't even use on the page. This happens a lot accidentally when people start using abbreviations and acronyms a lot. Like sometimes they stop using the core term and then just use the abbreviation. And
Another thing we don't lack for in higher ed, right? We got lots of content, lots of stories, lots of experts, and lots of acronyms.
But also good indicator of SEO performance is backlinks. So in terms of content, good content receives backlinks from external websites. Yeah, you start seeing yourself pop up in references in like some of those listicle sites. Yeah. Then you start seeing like Wikipedia references for some deep content. If you're producing news, you start seeing it cited by larger news like LA Times or New York Times or whatever, and Chicago Tribune, Sacramento Bee. I don't know, whatever it is.
Well, at Siena, we're really lucky because we have the Siena poll. We have a research institute that polls the presidential elections. They're the highest rated poll for accuracy for elections, congressional seats, all that stuff. So we get a lot of backlinks because of all of the polling and the news and the blogging and everything that goes along with that, which sort of raises our authenticity, really, like the trust score almost in the algorithms, I think.
It does. And I think, it's such a brilliant strategy to do that. I mean, it wasn't intended to be that way.
No, it wasn't intended. It's been around way before anyone is talking about SEO, but it works to our advantage for sure.
There's so many cases like that where some of the biggest success factors in a website's profile have nothing to do with their SEO intentions.
It wasn't a strategy decision in that way. Yeah.
But you know who did it right was the Oxford with the Oxford comma.
Yeah.
I keep advising Cal Poly to do like a Cal Poly semicolon or some kind of.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. To just be like known for something that's in the vernacular. Well, it's the idea of like we use Google as an action term, right? I'm going to Google that. Like how, if you can get to that level, that you have that kind of almost like daily vernacular kind of conversation level content around you, then you've definitely won this game.
Yeah, the MIT license. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
something to pursue.
Yeah, for sure. What are some of the tools that you find really useful to do this work?
So there's a suite of tools from Google that, if used correctly, can be very powerful. This is founded on, Google Analytics, Google Analytics 4, and with the final view being through Google Looker Studio. It's at an amazing point in web services now. Universal Analytics wasn't like this. There used to not be Tag Manager in Looker Studio. I remember when like Salesforce was the best sort of business development backend tool that was very expensive. Now Looker Studio has so much of that business intelligence for free to you, and it's a very, very powerful tool, especially in concert with the others. And with Tag Manager, a lot of people don't use Tag Manager properly or to its full capacity. So Tag Manager can be used to record events, and like when certain content is viewed, you can then mark those events in analytics as like key events related to a student's user journey or new staff and faculty's user journey, etc. You can start having insights around how to guide people through your website, and with custom events inside Tag Manager, you can record things like what images are shown to what user, or what headings and text is shown to what people, to get an idea of the broad messaging and what content is being served to what users and what audiences. Just audience tagging or recording the generator of your websites so that you can understand when a rollout, progressive rollout across portfolio of an enterprise kind of works. You can do all of this with Tag Manager and Analytics and Looker Studio. There are two other tools that combine so well with them: Screaming Frog and Moz. Screaming Frog is an excellent tool for crawling your website and pulling out information about your page content. And then scores around readability, or hook it up with page speed insights. It can be set automatically and integrated with Looker Studio to record a great deal of information, as well as Moz. Moz is a SEO toolbox and web community, the leader, I would say, in that space, and they have an excellent tool for tracking rankings. So while Search Console does, Moz does as well, and in different ways. And if you're going to pursue SEO, you need to understand your rankings and track them. So Moz is just so useful for that, and it integrates so well with Screaming Frog and Looker Studio. And then you can provide all of this SEO and accessibility information inside, a marketing dashboard, which isn't critical, or I would say not critical, but like really helpful for a higher ed because of the different demands that we have. Yeah, readability scores actually through Screaming Frog has been an interesting journey for me. There was a time when I debated about readability scores, saying that things didn't need to be easy to read necessarily, especially on a university website. Like, we are dealing with very smart people. But there's some principles in pursuing a lower readability score that making things easier to read that are really valid. Trying to use shorter sentences,
Yeah.
trying to, relay information in a concise, meaningful way without going too deep.
Yeah, because even smart people, it's easier for them to read when it's on a screen that way, I believe, is the sort of the science behind it, the research behind it. I've seen some of that too, that even if you're someone with a PhD, it's hard to read PhD level writing on a screen, because we just naturally are looking for those keywords and we're scanning, and honestly, our eyes get tired.
Yeah.
It,
Like a
it
bird can fly,
yeah.
but you can't just keep a bird flying for its whole life.
Yeah.
Let the bird rest.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's like almost like this mental load of receiving information over a computer screen or a phone screen that you have to account for. So some people think that that means dumbing it down, but it's not dumbing it down. It's just finding a way to be able to say it in a way that can be received and resonate with people. It's not talking down to people. It's just writing the content in a more accessible way.
How we talk and how we write should be different. And sometimes
Mm,
speak in a very we speak in a very like elaborate way with lots of run-on sentences and interject.
yes.
It doesn't need to be that way when it's written down. Please don't make it that way. We have
I
time to
know.
do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's just how can you say it shorter? And I think this is one of the great things, the gifts from AI, right? Because you can write something, say all of the things that you wish you could say, have all the messaging in there, make it chock full, and then you can put it into ChatGPT or another service, and then you can say, make this more concise, make this at a 10th grade reading level. You can ask it to do all of those things so it can help you because I think the biggest struggle is doing that to your own work, right? Because
Yeah.
you've written all of this and now you've got to cut and you've got to say it in a different way than you originally wrote it. So I think some of those tools come in handy on, of course, you're talking about tools on the data side. There's also so many tools on the content side that are helpful for us now. Where is this all headed and how can we stay ahead of it? Because, you know, I personally found the transition from Google Analytics to G4 really overwhelming from where I was sitting. There's a lot going on already, and to layer that on, and so search algorithms and digital trends they just change so fast, and some changes are bigger than others, right? Like this transition of analytics was a big one. So what can we do? What's your advice?
There's a lot to that. I'm glad that you mentioned GPT and ChatGPT or Gemini with Google from a writing perspective also because it's like a private tutor with a low relationship, right? Like it's like if you're learning a foreign language and you're practicing your language, you're very vulnerable when you do that. And it's,
Mm-hmm.
you're not starting out at the top, you're starting out at the bottom practicing this new language. And it's hard to even find an ear that would listen to you, much less like an expert or a
Yes.
superpowered expert.
Yeah.
But now you have this low relationship robot that you
Yeah.
can bounce ideas off of all the time.
Yeah. Things you might not say out loud to a human.
Yeah, things you
Or you
never
might not be
ask
willing.
somebody, you can ask this person, and
Yeah.
it's an expert.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
It,
true.
it makes you think about. It just gives ideas, a lot of interesting ideas. There are a lot of legal ambiguities around, copyright because um, only human written things
Mm-hmm.
can be copyrightable. But then there are deeper things about those that just haven't been solved yet.
Yeah.
Um, and
Talk about things happening too fast
so,
for anyone to keep up with them, right?
yeah, so we're ahead of the curve with that kind of context. What can we do? I'm not sure anyone really knows, but I figure we can create like durable systems, something that we expect to survive this chaos. And we already face a lot of chaos with like turnover, employee turnover.
Yes.
We've
That's a
student
good
turnover.
example. Yes.
We face a lot of chaos with administrative change or these other things. And stewardship of our university's websites is digital property, stewardship of this property, much less achieving other goals, right? How do we set up a durable way of not only managing this, but like achieving goals too, and embracing change? Because if we don't embrace it, we're just going to get caught up and swept away by it. And then so
Yeah.
how do we embrace this change and survive it all? And the approach is digital governance, formed by Lisa Welchman with her book Managing Chaos. In fast basic,
What a title.
so good.
What a
And it
title.
really caught on at Cal Poly from a perspective of like setting up RACEs, so roles and responsibilities, who's accountable, who's consulted, who's informed, trying to create a setting up community of practice, trying to set up like web communities where people can talk to each other and be guided through this. So it's like almost like nerve connections between the different units and divisions being set up, right? Like chains being formalized in a lot of ways, so that we have it's like a net that can survive when the nodes fall away, right? And the net kind of hopefully can survive those relationships between people, organizations can survive. Because all of our organizations, the website isn't a website by one person, and you're the web guy.
Yeah.
Like, we're kind of grown-ups and have a big
Yeah.
mature property, and there's like 1,000 people involved. So it's about managing those people.
Yeah. So you
So
have to have a system that can allow you to change while protecting what you have.
yeah, and changing out
Yeah.
different parts while you're driving,
Yeah.
right? And so
You're very good at the metaphors, Glenn.
thank you. I have had a long time to think about them. Right? A lot of universities are using Drupal, and I want to encourage people to use Drupal as much as they can. It's on the learning curve, especially for first-time users, has been horrendous over the years, but is getting better and is a priority
Okay.
for them to improve. And just to that, it's like it's software that has modules that can be reorganized and grow, and so it can help survive as a durable like system. um, Great community of support, and there's a lot of professionals in that system. And I say this because, as a lover of WordPress, another content management system,
Hmm.
um, it WordPress has some challenges at like an enterprise level for large organizations. Um, it's great for and small, very well informed teams, but the problem with WordPress is it's so easy to launch with WordPress, the 5-minute install and set up,
Yeah.
but it's often difficult to manage long term. The durability long term is more difficult. Easy to get started, harder to manage.
Mm.
With Drupal, it's like harder to get started, easier to manage down the road. And with these sites that are going to be around a long time, it's
You'd
like that's
rather
what
have you'd rather have B. Yeah. That makes sense. Um, what advice would you give to a higher ed marketer who's just starting to dive into this? Like they're a higher ed marketer, but they're not really knowledgeable or have a deep understanding of analytics and SEO. What do they need to do and know to help them do their jobs on behalf of their universities?
Yeah, it's hard when you start any position because it's like you're being dropped in that jungle.
Yeah.
Just about analytics. Data is powerful, but stories connect.
Mm.
So yeah, data's one whole world, but the user stories, anecdotes, user research, especially, that's what resonates with people. So always back up and inform not only from data, but also from the qualitative side of market research. Even if it is anecdotal, there are realities there. There's a famous story from Jeff Bezos with Amazon where they were in a meeting where receiving reports of how fast their customer service answered phone calls in fewer than 5 minutes, and they just called up and were left on hold for 20 minutes, and it registered as like a 4-minute call. And so data sometimes doesn't tell a full story, and
Doesn't
like you
tell the
should
whole thing. Yeah.
believe people, because you'll see in analytics certain trends, but analytics is indirect observation, and those trends can be explained by lots of things you can't see in the data. There are behaviors that people have that you just talk to people and they'll tell you. So when you're getting into analytics, be sure you have a qualitative side.
Hmm.
Uh, at Cal Poly, we were able to do something I thought was really impressive around that, where we worked with college professors. So and had student peer-to-peer research, like user experience research that students would ask each other about the site and about the
Oh,
content and
wow.
about everything
What
else.
a
And then that would
great,
get back to
yes.
the professor would then grade it, and then it would get back to us though. And we would have these streams of knowledge.
Fantastic idea.
It was so useful with our business school, as well as, different ways of trying to get qualitative feedback, right?
I may have to steal that idea because I teach digital marketing quite often here at Sienna.
It's a great opportunity for people with an interest in data science or com computer science or marketing,
Yeah.
business intelligence to process especially if you have university-wide data and you work with like a graduate student working to understand this, it's a fantastic opportunity for
Yeah.
them.
Wow.
Especially
Love
with
it.
all of the potential now with the tools available for processing your output from Looker or Google Analytics and turning it into actionable insights. Like you can have a direct impact.
Great experience for the students and great stuff for us too.
For a new person in the field, embrace a learning mindset. We're going to have to learn
Mm,
a lot of things. People who've been working in the web a long time know about having to learn different languages and embrace a learning mindset because things are going to continue to change.
that's really what all college students need to be coming out with, right? And young professionals now, we need to come out with that mindset and a way to keep learning and adapting because I read the other day that 65% of Gen Alpha will have jobs that we can't even conceive of right now. So, and then they'll have, 14 jobs in their lifetime. So I can't even imagine what's coming, right? Except that it's coming fast. The only thing we know for sure is that's going to be changed and that's going to change really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Glenn, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your awesome metaphors. I'm an English major, so I love a good metaphor.
Analogies, similes,
Analogies,
metaphors,
love all of them.
portmanteaus, everything.
Your insights are really incredibly invaluable. And for our listeners, if you want to learn more from Glenn, be sure to catch his presentation at EduWeb Summit in Philadelphia from July 9th through 11th. And thank you all for tuning into this episode of The Application. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend who you think would also find it helpful. Subscribe and leave us a review. Join us next time for more actionable tips and strategies to elevate your higher ed marketing efforts. Until then, keep innovating and optimizing. The Application is part of the Enrollify Podcast Network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed tech shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea, and they feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Jamie Hunt, Seth Odell, Day Kibbolds, Jeremy Tears, and so many other of your favorite higher ed leaders. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered, all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.